Hello, how are you?
Awesome. Happy Saturday, Chelsea.
Happy Saturday to you. I'm so excited to see you again. I am I'm really trying not to fangirl right now. I feel like I should have written a script because it's going to be so hard for me to stick to the plan because I just am so in awe of you and all of your creation and your work and just your spirit in general. So I'm honored and excited to be here and to be able to do this with you and introduce you to all that who have decided to join us. So I will start by saying this book, which we already have behind us, is a beautiful work of art, and I cannot wait to jump into the details of this book. But we'll get to that later. First, let me say, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. If you have not had the opportunity to meet Miss Crystal in person, you are in for a treat today. If you weren't a fan already, you will totally be a fangirl or
Oh,
fanboy when you leave. But this is Miss Crystal Mercer. She is a born and raised Little Rock, Arkansas native. She is an artist, a poet, a creator in every aspect that you could imagine, a graduate of UALR, a graduate of Clinton Public Schools, and she is a world traveler, an activist, a voice for social justice, and so much more. I could go on forever, but we're here to discuss her being an author as well. And this is not her first book. We also have a poetry book, Love Stories Waiting to Happen. We're not discussing that today, but you should also check this out. I will say this is her first children's book, though, correct?
yes, that is
And
correct.
I am so excited about this. So, without further ado, welcome, welcome. This is the beautiful, wonderful Miss Crystal Mercer.
Thank you so much, Chelsea, for that lovely introduction. Thank you for everybody who's joining near and far on the Zoom of it all. I'm excited to be a part of the Six Bridges Book Festival. I have worked in many iterations of the festival as a volunteer, manning book tables, on panels, and it's so good to be here talking about some of my own work today. So I definitely want to thank Six Bridges for that opportunity and everyone being here. And like Chelsea said, yes, Crystal C. Mercer. Everybody affectionately calls me CC. That was my late father's nickname, who's actually always with me right here on my altar behind my shoulder. And wanted to give you some more context for From Cotton to Silk, the Magical Black Hair. I got my copy right here too, Chelsea. This
Yeah.
gives you some concept of the scale because I hand stitched all of the pages in the book. It took 467 hours. That was just the stitching. That wasn't the design meetings and layout and printing. There's so much that goes on with publishing. And so I also have to take this opportunity to thank my publisher, Aaron Wood at Et Alia Press, who believed that I could stitch a book when we have not even heard of anything like that, other than, historical antiquity times where people use tapestries to tell stories. And that's kind of what this is. I'm using the African American tradition of quilting, hand stitching techniques, and embroidery to tell this beautiful story, a true family story, to my nieces, Claudia Giselle and Bianca Elise, for them to just tap into and exude the confidence that they have now, not to lose that, for all of the natural beauty that they possess inside and outside.
I love that. I'm thrilled as an African American woman and a mother of three beautiful children, all girls who have a head full of hair, um, to have a book such as this to read to them. And I mentioned to this. I mentioned this to you before, you know, it's important to me to have something that my children can see as a representative of themselves that speaks love and life into them. And I will say that more recently, there are books that do cater to that idea that, you know, I love myself, I love my hair. But this book in particular just really resonates to me on a whole different level because I know that it's not just about my hair, it's about the culture, it's about the
Yes.
lineage, it's about the so many aspects. When I say Crystal is for the culture, I mean she is for the culture. I mean the art, the poetry, the quilting, her knowledge and intellect, and the amount that she's immersed herself. Like I said before, she is a graduate of the Clinton Public Schools, where she got to go to Ghana. Correct? Is it Ghana?
Yes.
And do a art curriculum for the children there. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did a number of things. I worked with a beautiful gallery space called the New Bouquet Foundation. They were in transition when I got there. They actually were remodeling their space. New Bouquet means new day, new dawn. And so all of the things that were emerging for African artists there, I worked with so many different people, and I had an independent study. Shout out to Dr. Christine Standiford, who let me kind of go off of the beaten path. I'm like, I love public service, but I'm an artist, and art is my service. So I did an independent study in textiles, and I learned more about raffia and mud cloth and kente and wax prints and all these different weaving techniques, dyeing techniques. All the different symbolisms in fabric that I had been drawn to all of my life, and just got to be in a place where some of these things originated, and connecting them back to my culture here in the southern United States, where we have a lot of origination of original prints, fabric symbols, and just continuing to tell that story. Because we did have the middle passage, and there seems like there is a disconnect, but really it's a straight line through of how all of this is a part of our story. And so even in the stitching, outside of me telling this story to my nieces and talking about wash day, which every melanated full head of hair, curly head person out there knows what that's like, is saying that we are connected to something greater, something bigger. And just by putting a particular fabric in or a particular color in, I can give you more of that story.
Yes, absolutely. And that is exactly what I'm referring to about this book. It's not just about loving your hair. It's about the way that you intentionally, for lack of a better word, wove in so much more culture and knowledge about where we come from and how we all connect, how our different cloths can come together to create one thing, and
Yes.
we you know ultimately are here to serve a purpose, and that purpose through our lineage is the same despite, you know, the time that we were introduced. So with that being said, you mentioned it was 460 hours that you spent just creating these pieces. And I want to reiterate this because I expressed this too. When I looked at this, I imagined that this was just print, you know, that you printed a copy of quilts and fabrics, but these are actually handmade fabrics, and these are pictures of the fabrics. So,
Yes.
yes. So, and I'm so glad you put that there because I wanted to ask you what kind of, because we can see the pictures on the pages, but as far as the scale, how big are they and where you are keeping them outside of the book?
They are gigantic. They're most of them are about this size, and some of them are a little bigger or much bigger. Originally, all of the pages were on display at M2 Gallery, which is my gallery representative. Shout out to Meg Murphy. It's gonna be a lot of shout outs in this moment. I love everybody. I'm
Yes.
so thankful. for people who have been a part of this journey. And that was when the book was originally published, and we had a release on March 20th, which was my late grandmother's birthday, Leola Strong Brown, who is pivotal in the book and a part of this story. And after they lived there for a few weeks, I brought them back home with the intention of being able to display and exhibit them in other places. The beautiful thing about being a fiber artist is even though the scale is magnificent and gigantic, I can just fold them up, put them in my little duffel, and be on my way. So I'm hoping they live with me right now, but I'm hoping that I can share this story and this work and this love with other people, and not just the work of the book, because I think that's beautiful, but also the story that I'm passing down to my nieces, and for other people to be connected and inspired to preserve their family stories too, because a lot of times, for whatever reason, it gets lost, and it doesn't have to be. These are things we can discover and bring back and fold into the pride of who we are, the resilience of who we are. And I feel like that's evident in the work. So I'm hoping that it will live in other places as the book grows, as more people know about it, as the story grows.
Yes, so on a more personal note, in the book, we have Giselle and Elise, and we get to hear their story about how they feel about Wash Day and how their wonderful, magnificent aunt is inspiring them and telling them that it's a magical experience to care for your hair. Um, I know, but I would like to share, or like for you to share, the inspiration for these characters in your book and elaborate a little bit more on those two lovely ladies.
Yes, so the book is dedicated to my nieces, Claudia Giselle and Bianca Elise. Those are their middle names. So I use their middle names because it rhymed in the original poem that I wrote when I started thinking about this concept back in 2018. When I was in Ghana, I was living overseas, and they were so little, but little people know things. It's not like you're little and you don't know anything and you're insignificant until you're big enough to understand. Like, you are important right now. So I was so far away, and it was killing me to be that far away from them, and I just wanted them to know how much I love them. So I wrote a portion of the book and just had sketches before I even knew it was a book. This was in some leather journal that I was keeping when I was overseas. And one FaceTime call, I read it to them and they loved it. And then it struck me that I should stitch it. My nieces are curious and spontaneous and rambunctious and sweet and a little saucy around the edges. And it's like I wanted to capture all of their personality. It's kind of hard to do. Traditionally, what I learned in the publishing process, that children's books are about 32 pages. So it's like, how do I put all of them into 32 pages? And so just using words and images and colors that were bold, that describe them to a T, how careful or serious they are, how fearless they are, and just wanting them to know that no matter how far away I am from them, that I'm always nearby, that we are a part of each other through blood and spirit. So that's why I wrote the book. I wanted my nieces to have something that they could be proud of, that they could hold on to, a part of their family story that they could carry on. I wanted them to know how important, even as little people, that they are right now.
That is beautiful. And I, without a doubt, know that they know that, and so many other little girls that are reading this book and listening to this book know this. And I just want to piggyback off of something you said a few seconds ago about trying to keep children's books at 32 pages. I know that you are a poet, and I know that you've had a passion for writing since you were a kid. So I can imagine how difficult it is for you to really keep the words, limited. But I expressed this when we met. This book really tells two stories. Because when I'm reading and looking at this book, it was difficult for me to stick to the words without my eyes wandering up and looking at the art that you created. And so I wanted to elaborate on one of my favorite pictures, and it's really on the first page, but
Yes.
this is one of my favorite pictures, and I was able to look and see where you had knitted in the Haitian flag along with the Big Apple.
Yes.
And so that in itself was, its own story, even without the words, just having the knowledge of the background. Um, can you elaborate more on the Haitian culture? I know that in this story, it's your grandmother that started this gift. Well, not started this gift, but carried out this gift for you, and now you're pouring into your nieces. Can you elaborate more on that culture?
Yes, Sac Passe. What up to all my Haitians? I'm Haitian by association. So my sister in love, Daphne Mercer, who my brother married some decades ago, well, a decade ago. Uh, she's Haitian, first generation Haitian. Her parents came from Haiti and they moved to the United States in Queens. Where shall I find my wife? Queens. And that's how it happened. True story. Thank you, Eddie Murphy. So my girls, black is not a monolith. You can be Ghanaian, you can be Cameroonian, you can be Haitian, you can be Afro Latina from the Dominican. You can be all of these things, right? So I wanted them also to be proud of who they are, which they are. They know they're Haitian girls, they're Black girls, they're African girls, they're American girls. Like that is all of who they are. So the first page is actually the first page I stitched. I did not stitch in order. It took a long time to figure out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to place certain things. And when you're hand stitching, like you can't make a mistake. It's not a quick process. It's very slow. So I knew if I was choosing a central image for a page, like that was going to be it. And I'm glad that Aaron, my publisher at All Your trusted me with that. But I started with the Haitian flag and I used gingham for the top and bottom of the flag because gingham to me is so American South. So that tied in my brother as their father into their story. And then I used the wax print for the apple in the Big Apple because it's like our African roots, our African culture on all fronts between Haiti and the United States, and then them being in New York, where they're growing up and being socialized and learning about themselves. So you picked up on it, Chelsea, like in this one symbol where I've reimagined the Haitian flags with them in the center of it because this is all of who they are. It's like I'm telling you who these girls are. They're Black girls, they're Haitian girls, they're American girls, they're beautiful girls. And in my world, they are the center of everything. And also, we added another girl to the list. I have to say a big, huge, warm welcome to Celine Brielle Noel, who is my newest niece on the Haitian by Association Committee, who got here in September. So all my girls are born in September and super beautiful. And Celine is now, as she is a cousin to Claudia and Bianca, a part of this story and a part of the magic that is our beauty as Black people.
So maybe we get to have a part two.
I know the girls are on me about stitching another book. I'm like, when I get another 500 hours, boo, I will I will put it together for you. I don't know where I'm gonna find that time. I don't even know how I found it when I stitched last year or the year before last, but I believe that I will. It was very hard, and when I was done, I'm like, that was beautiful. I'm not doing that again. And now that the girls are on me and I'm still stitching other things, I definitely will do that again.
I
I
can't
know I
wait.
will.
I'm excited. Um, and just kind of as far as doing that again, I think I remember you saying that a lot of it was spirit led, you moved, your art was led by the spirit, and you moved to create those pieces when you felt it was appropriate. even if that meant you were in the middle of a road trip. um, I would definitely look forward to a part two. But as you mentioned earlier, your father in the picture,
Yes.
um,
Hey,
and
Daddy.
I'm trying to stay focused. Like I said, I should have wrote a script, but I just wanted to plug this in. Your father plays a pivotal role for you still, even in his passing. And little girls typically do adore their fathers. So maybe we could get a spirit-led book of a child and their father.
Okay, Chelsea, give me.
Maybe. I'm just throwing it out there off the script. But anyway, so speaking of your nieces and all that you've done for them, I know that you have their own little book reviews. And so I would really like to share that because it was so beautiful. And hopefully we can get it pulled up here so we can check that out.
Oh, yay. Claudia. So that's Giselle in the story, and she has a lot to say.
Okay, Claude, I'm ready.
One, two, three. Ready? This is my favorite page because it shows where the magic begins in the book at the very end of the book. I'm sad it didn't be in the middle, but it's very surprising that it is at the end. And you can see he shows the comb on page 25. It's like all these different colors in the background. And see, they have like blowouts here. And you can tell which one is us. This one is Giselle, this one is Elise. Because Giselle's mouth is like always blue. And Elise's mouth is always red. And I have another favorite page. Around. Welcome to this page. This is the first and second page. This back one is blue and this one's pink. What's this called again?
Wax fabric.
No, I meant the wolf.
Oh, the dua phase.
Yeah, they call it the wolf. This one blue and this one pink. This is Elise and this is Giselle. You know this is Elise because the cape is red, including her mouth and her bow. Also, you know that it's her because of the mouth. I already told you that. Hi, Elise.
Hi. This time we are listening to a song.
Wait, was it?
We will finish that after.
Bianca, they can't see. That's her name. Okay, and I have one more favorite page. Where is it? This one. Because of the patterns, but also when Elise screams Nanan and she's jumping for joy and she runs into hugs her, and that's on page 9 and 10. It's weird that the page 1 and 2 don't have numbers on it. And that is the book From Caution to Silk, The Magic of Black Hair.
Oh, my heart. My heart. Yes. That
It's
was Claudia's assessment. You see how methodical she is about what she likes and where things are. And I'm wearing the matching pants to this that I got in Ghana. So that's why I had to put that one up because it's my baby's favorite page.
Yes. Before we see the other video, can we talk about that fabric, the one that you're wearing and that's on the cover of the page and that is her favorite? Give us some details on this fabric because we talked about it before, and I would love to share this.
Yeah, so it's African wax print, which really it's a Dutch company, but they found a business lane in Africa and they didn't know that the Africans was gonna take it over. So there's usually a lot of colors, prints, symbolisms in the fabric. And this was a print that was very popular when I lived in Ghana. And so I bought a lot of this fabric, these pants. I have a shirt like this. It's just a beautiful way for people to colorfully express themselves. And it was a way for a long time that a lot of women were entrepreneurs and had their own business, and they sold the cloth to keep their families afloat, put food on the table, be fashionable. It was just really important into the ecosystem of art and the economy in West Africa. And I also want to say I'm seeing all of the beautiful, lovely comments in the chat. Thank you all so much for the love in the chat and staying focused, staying in tune. I appreciate that. So love to y'all too, tuning in.
Yes, and I have to tell you, I've seen this fabric more since discovering your book, and I can't. Every time I see it, all I can think of is Crystal and her nieces. So, so I love that you chose this fabric because it may not necessarily be popular, but it is very distinctive, and I can guarantee you that if anybody has read or seen this book, they immediately think of you and your beautiful nieces. So. I love it. Let's go ahead and see. Oh, let's see what the next review is.
You got this beautiful picture in my Nana's book. So nice, so pretty. I never even saw this page. New and cool. I might here.
You like that page?
Yeah.
What do you like about the page?
Because it had pink and purple and you and me. I want this one to be me.
Mm-hmm.
Is this me?
It is.
I know Bonds is my perfect.
I know you love buns.
And here, is this me or Cody?
That's you.
But I wanted this one to be me because I'm pink.
Look, but it's a pink bow, and you have on a pink bow right now.
Oh my gosh, it's the same.
I know.
Close, open, close, open, close, open. Now let's see the video. Two. No.
Bye.
No, bye. We are not done with this though.
Bianca, that's my godchild. So Ninin is Haitian Creole for a godmother. So that's why she calls me Ninin, which is outlined in the book, but that's her special name for me.
Oh, that's so sweet. I absolutely love that. I'm just gonna read through the comments here and just see what everyone has to say. If you have any questions for Crystal, please type them in so I can ask her. I'm sure she would love to hear your comments and inputs. Let's see here. We have loved the video of your niece. This is so sweet. We love the review from Mariko. And then we have they are delightful. They are absolutely delightful. And let's see here. Where can we purchase the book?
So you can go to sixbridgesbookfestival.org and it has a link to Wordsworth, which has been giving all of us local authors and readers a chance here in Central Arkansas. You can also go to my publisher's website at allyourpress.com or my website, crystalcmercer.com, and you can get your copies there. I see we had a question. Oh,
Yes.
maybe it disappeared. I think you got it.
No, we have it. It says, I know you haven't wanted to sell the original pieces from the book, but where can people buy your work?
So you can go to my textile website, mercertextilemercantile.com. I don't have anything up there right now, but I am working on some garment home decor pieces. And if you're interested in fine art, you can go to m2lr.com. It's my gallery representative, M2 Gallery, and there are some original pieces that are for sale right now.
Awesome. Okay, well, just to wrap up, I know that if there was anything you wanted people to know about this book, it was about the importance of lineage. So I would really love for you to go ahead and close this out and elaborate on what that means to you.
Yes, thank you for that question, Chelsea. And I see you said, hey. Yes, for me, it was not easy when I was young with all of this. I got teased, I got picked on, I got bullied, I got beat up, and it was really difficult to appreciate who I was. And even women who loved me and poured into me, they wanted me to look a certain way. In every one of my school pictures, my hair is pressed. And I wonder how much further along I would be if I could have just looked the way I looked, when I looked the way I looked as a little girl. So I'm not only passing on the story of my grandmother to my nieces, but I'm passing on the story of me, that it's okay to be who you are in the time that you are at that moment. The time is now. We don't know what is to come, but I'm in a long line of men and women and people who have appreciated their culture and their beauty. And I think that it's important that as the leader of the new school, that I keep that tradition going for them. So I hope that people who tuned in today and who learn more about the book and the story of, African Americans in this country and other countries around the world, to appreciate who we are and to celebrate our beauty and our culture.
Awesome. That is beautiful. We had one last comment here. It says, "Hey Crystal, love seeing young black girls like your nieces understanding their hair and feeling empowered by it. What was your hair journey like at this age?" Which you just kind of explained. And this, I think this comment goes to show that your book has conveyed exactly what you wanted for them to know that it's okay to be who you are, how you are, when you are.
Yes. So thank y'all for tuning in. Please follow me on social media at ccmercer2, TOO, and visit my website, crystalcmercer.com, to find out more about all the fabulous things I do.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much, Central Arkansas Library System. Thank you, Crystal, so much for your time and your work. I am looking forward to following you more. Like I said, I'm a fan, and I know everybody else here is too.
Yay.
Thank
Bye,
you.
y'all. Have a great Saturday.